Good, good evening, and good evening again. I have been off for a couple of days, but made sure to dress up and show up today. Not alone today. I have two two really interesting young men here with me today. I'm going to let them say hello and introduce themselves before we move on here. Go ahead and introduce yourself, guys.
Hello. Hey guys.
My name is
Uh,
Josby.
my name is Grace.
All right.
It's nice to meet
I have here with me just me and Grace. Um, very inquisitive and very how do I put it? Open-minded young man. Um, as you can see, today is a wee Wednesday, and I like to leave these for open conversation and open chat and having people ask me any questions they have any thoughts on, and I will try to give my best answer for it. Today, here, I wanted to talk about transitions. I thought it was fitting because I myself am in quite a. Is the word transitory? I believe it must be. I'm in a very transitory stage in my life. A lot of things are transitioning into being other things and growing out of a lot of things and all of that. And having these two young men here, they've had quite a lot of teaching to teach me about what being young means today. And I've had a lot to teach them about what it looks like on the other side of the transition. So I'm going to give them the space and the time to ask me a few questions that they've had on their mind for however long they've had them on, and I will do my very best to answer these questions. So, guys, do you have any questions that you've had on your mind that you would like about absolutely anything that you would like answered? Like, what is it like to be an adult? Like all of those
you.
sorts
Also
of
love to
questions.
answer.
Yeah. Go ahead and shoot. All right.
What's your favorite part about being an adult?
Hmm. All my adults gather around here. My boy. Very soon you're going to regret ever wishing you were an adult. As soon as you are an adult, um, everything just goes downhill. I'm joking. You should see their faces as I speak here. Let me go ahead and turn down the gain on this so that we're not clipping as much. You should see the facial expressions when I'm describing that life goes downhill from no, no, it doesn't. My favorite part about being an adult would be I as you can I really have to think about something good about being an adult, but I guess maybe the ability to define yourself and who you are. The more you grow, the less you need other people to tell you who you should be. That's what I love so much about being an adult. I can be whoever I want to be. All I need to do is work on it. How do you feel about your response?
Yeah.
You want to be an adult now,
I don't know.
huh? You have any questions, Josby?
What's the hardest part about being an adult?
Yeah, of course you would choose the negative side of his question. Great, great, great. There's a lot. There's a lot, but like I said, look, the process of life is an amazing thing. It's not you get to build yourself out and be the person that you want to be. And obviously, that takes a lot of hard work, but that's the part about being an adult. You get to do that. But the difficulty is deciding. The most difficult part for me is deciding who you're going to be. Usually, as soon as you decide and you're clear on who you're going to be and what that looks like, you usually know what you should do. If I want to be a certain kind of a person, I know I should make my decisions based on that. And because of that, I'm able to take steps towards becoming that person. So that's the hardest part, deciding who you're going to be, because that decision is left in your hands. How's that? Did you enjoy your answer?
Yeah.
You liked your you like your answer. You said, "All right, guys. Any other
I
questions?"
have a
Yeah, shoot,
question.
shoot.
As an adult, do
Hmm.
you wish you could like be a teenager again?
Yeah, all the time. All the time. I wish I could be a teenager again. But in the same breath, there's some things about being a teenager that I would not go back to. Many of them have to do with like I was just describing, being an adult. The best thing that you can, um, the best part about being an adult is deciding who you should be or who you can be. And in that, for me at least personally, the hardest thing about being an adult is not knowing exactly who I am, or at least who I wanted to be. I had no idea. I had no idea who I wanted to be. And so there was a lot of I don't know, a lot of influences from everywhere. Like some of these influences were good, some of them were bad, and the more you spend time around these influences without truly knowing who you are, the more these influences shape who you are. And it's not always like bad friends and bad scenes. It's like parents, it's like elder siblings. It's like people that we look up to. Sometimes there are things about people older than us that aren't perfect, you know? We grow up thinking that the people that we look up to are perfect, but they're not, right? And sometimes being in the presence of these older people's weaknesses, we can tend to think that that's the best way that we should be, because I mean, the older person is doing it, so why shouldn't I? Right? And that was the most difficult part for me being a teenager. It's like you were seeing all these people that you look up to not being the best examples, and deciding that despite the fact that this person that I look up to is failing in being, I guess, let me give some examples, not always speaking in a way that's polite. Some adults just can't talk politely, and they have to scream and shout and fight and all of that. Or maybe, I don't know what else, womanizing, right? And why? That made you smile, huh? Okay. Like being around like adults who struggled with that and not being able to like decide that, okay, maybe this isn't the best way to be, despite the fact that this adult is doing it. Maybe this isn't the best example. Like when you're not aware of who you are, or at least who you want to be, and consequently how to get there, or what sort of actions you should take to get there. Usually, the people you look up to are what you use to point you in the direction you should go. And the people we look up to aren't always the best examples. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Did you get an answer? Because I went on for quite some time there. I went on for quite some time. Being a teenager is hard because you think you know who you are, but you really don't. You really, really don't. You don't know what you like. You don't know what you don't like. You don't know all of these things. And as you get older, these are the things that you start to decide. The more you experience life, the more you start to decide what you like, what you don't like, what sort of a person you should be. Does that make sense? So that's what I wouldn't go back to. But I do wish sometimes I could go back to like having less responsibilities, having less people look up to you. Yeah, that's also a good piece of it because it's hard having people look up to you. As much as many people want that and they want fame and all of that, it's difficult. It's difficult because one, we are only human, and with being human, there are some things that we don't do as well. There are some things that we do well, but you've heard the saying, "I'm only human after all." Mm. Any follow-up questions? Just be you have one. You have a question maybe that you would like to ask that you've been thinking about.
Is it really good to explore all the time, like different aspects of life, stuff like that?
That's a really good question. I think I'm glad that you asked that question. Um, Especially in the way that the world is going today, and with um, technology and the ability to be anywhere in the world at any time, and all these options, all these options, all these options. Um, Remember, I'm gonna bring it back again to this idea of the fact that the hardest thing about being a teenager for me was not knowing who I was and not being able to decide um, what sort of person I wanted to be. That was the hardest part. Do you know why it was so hard? Can you at least like can you guess why you think it was so hard?
Because things were changing around you.
Not necessarily. So the hardest part for me was in the fact that I could be anyone. I could be anything. You hear that all the time, right? Like you can be anything you want. You can do anything you want, right? That's a problem. Potential is such an amazing thing because potential moves us forward. But if potential remains as potential, it never amounts to anything. Do you get what I mean by that, or should I expand on that?
Expand.
If I can be a doctor and I can be an engineer and I can be a I don't know, scientist, and I can be a mathematician and I can be a filmmaker, I can be an artist. If I can be all of these things at any one time and I never give up all the other ones and choose just one, all I'll end up being is someone who could have been a doctor, no matter how smart I am, right? If I don't pursue one of them and give up the rest of them, right? At least even for a season in our life, if I don't decide to go to medical school, right? Or go to engineering school, or go to be an artist, or any of these things, if I don't give up all the other possibilities to just pursue one, right? No matter how smart I am, no matter how intelligent I am, right? I'll just end up being the guy who could have been an artist, the guy who could have been an engineer. But if I go ahead and give up the possibility of being an engineer, the possibility of being a doctor, the possibility of being an artist, the possibility of being a scientist, and I choose to be a mathematician, and I go to school and study mathematics for like 7 years, and next thing you know, I'm a mathematician, right? But to become a mathematician, what did I have to do?
You have to give up the others.
I had to give up the others. Maybe after I'm done being a mathematician,
Then you can follow
I can follow the other ones, right? But most times, doing both of them at the same time, or doing all of them at the same time, you're gonna remain in a state where you just have what? Potential. All you have is potential. If you don't work potential, if you don't put potential to work, if you don't choose and put your neck out there and take a risk, if you don't choose, if you don't choose to make the potential something, what happens? You
goes
said
to waste.
it goes to waste. Yeah, it really does. Right? That's the same thing with exploring. You can explore absolutely everything you want, right? You have that ability to. But if you don't give up some things, if you don't give up some things, those things are in essence taking away from what you want to be. Does that make sense? If I, for instance, want to be financially free, but I decide I'm not going to work and I'm just going to come up with ideas all day and explore all the ways that I can make money. I'm just exploring all the ways that I can make money, but I never choose one and give up the rest. What do you think is going to happen to me?
You're not going to be financial.
Yeah, I'm not going to make any money unless I choose one way of making money and I go for it and I stick with it and I work on it until I get to a point where I make money. You know what I mean? Does that make sense to you? It's okay to explore and apply this everywhere in your life that you would like to as well. Go ahead, try it out. You can explore all that you want, but the thing is, you need to understand that you don't have an unlimited supply of resources. You don't have an unlimited amount of money. You don't have an unlimited amount of time. You don't have an unlimited amount of attention, right? And because you don't have an unlimited amount of attention, time, and I don't know, even energy, right? You need to choose where you spend it. And you also need to understand that when you spend it, you don't get it back, right? So it's your choice. You can explore all the things that you want, but you need to know that the time, the energy, and the attention that you spent on that, you're not getting it back. Does that make sense? So you need to be very picky about where you put your time, where you put your attention, and where you put your energy, because you're not going to get it back. Yes, you can. You can. No one's going to stop you. You can decide to explore absolutely anything you want. No one's going to stop you. The only things that are going to stop you are what?
Time, energy, attention.
That's all. Because you don't have what? You don't have an unlimited supply of it. Right? Again, you need to decide the sort of person you want to become. Right? And then start acting like that person. Does that make sense? If you want to become a millionaire,
You need to act like a millionaire.
yeah, start managing your money better. People think that millionaires have a lot of money. That's not what it is. Millionaires manage their money well. Right? They don't continuously keep getting money. They just have money in the right places. I'm talking very generally here. You get what I mean? If you don't know how to manage money, you will never be a millionaire. You know why? You can make $1 million, you can have $1 million, but you won't be a millionaire. Why?
That's the way you manage it.
Yeah, because you're going to spend it. If I gave you just be $1 million today. If I gave you $1 million today, what's happening to that money? What's the first thing you're going to do?
Invest it.
You're going to invest it where?
Check.
You check. You see what I mean? Because you don't have the habits, the mindset, and the knowledge of a millionaire, right? However they made that million, it's going to be hard for you to keep that million. You're probably going to spend it all very quickly. Because your friends are going to come and be like, buy for us a quarter. What's a quarter? 10 rand. I have $1 million. I'm going to buy this quarter for sure. Isn't it? If you have $1 million rand, $1 million, and your friends say, can I have a quarter? You're not going to buy them the quarter.
Will buy even more than
You see what I mean? You're going to buy the whole shop even that time. You're going to buy the whole shop and tell everyone off like, guys, free quarters for you there in the store, isn't it? Right? Why is that? Why don't millionaires go around doing that sort of a thing?
Because they know how to manage it.
Because they know as soon as you spend 1 rand in a million rands, what does it become?
Becomes nine.
What does it become?
Becomes what it is. 9,009. Wait.
999,999.
You also missed it slightly, but cool. 900. I mean, you started nicely. 900. Go ahead. 900,000.
999. Because you remove one.
Yeah. But where's the 9,000? 900,000, 9,999.
Oh,
Yeah. We're not here to test maths, but it's okay. It's okay. Good job. Good job, you guys. Are you a millionaire anymore at that point?
No.
You're not a millionaire anymore as soon as you've spent 1 rand. But you see what millionaires do? They know as soon as they spend the
You need to gain more.
you need to
than
get-
spent.
and a few other mindset things that you probably won't have because you're not a millionaire yet. So if you want to be a millionaire, you need to start doing the things that millionaires do, thinking the way millionaires do. And unfortunately, sometimes it takes a lifetime to learn those things, right? But what it's definitely going to take is giving up some things, right? You can't be a millionaire and act like someone who isn't a millionaire. So that means you're going to have to give up certain things. You have to give up certain things that are taking your time, your energy, and your attention. Because I can guarantee you these 3 things are 3 things that you're going to need to make a million. You're going to need time, because if you don't have time, you don't exist, isn't it? You're going to need energy, because if you don't work, you're probably not going to make a million.
Probably you won't even make.
And then there's attention. You need attention. You need to pay attention.
Where?
Mhm.
Oh, no.
Go ahead.
No, I
Ask-
wanted to ask where, like, to direct your attention.
That's what it is. Like you direct your attention. This is slightly. You direct your attention towards things that you are, 1, passionate about, and 2, good at. Direct your attention there, and usually your millions are there, just waiting there, sitting at you. But sometimes, most times, whenever you put your attention where you're passionate, there's a reason why I said passion and then what you're good at. If you're passionate about something, if you're passionate enough about something, even if there are some things that you are good at and there's some things you're not good at, right? The passion will carry you through the things that you're not good at. Like da la 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 la. You know what I mean? It's not exciting playing scales all day, is it? It's not exciting at all. But how come you guys keep doing it?
I want to do it.
Because you want to become musicians. So you're doing the things that musicians do. You're acting like musicians until you'll become musicians. You get what I mean? You don't like it. I don't like scales either. I'm telling you, I really don't like scales. But I'm passionate about music and making music, right? So the passion helps me like the things that are not so exciting about music, right? But there are certain things that I'm really good at, like telling stories. I'm good at that, at least when it comes to writing music, right? I started it, this is how it happened for me. I started in music. I don't like playing instruments. I really don't actually enjoy playing instruments at all. I don't. What I really, really like, is feeling stuff and then putting it into words, right? But because I loved that so much, and music isn't just the words, the passion helped me learn instruments, right? And the instruments helped me write songs. So it's like, okay, obviously I'm gonna learn instrument. It's tough. You guys, I'm sure, can tell just how tough it is learning instruments, right? But I still did it. Why?
Passion.
Passion. It's the passion that kept me at it. And I don't enjoy learning instruments. I don't enjoy instruments at all. But I'm passionate about writing. And that's enough to carry me through boring talalalalas. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's that. It's like your question was a really, really good question. You can explore everything. You can explore anything. But you need to understand that any energy, any amount of energy, any amount of attention, and any amount of time that you spend on anything, you're not gonna get back. So use it wisely. Does that make sense? Yeah. You have another question, Grace, before we start to close it out here?
Are the choices that you made when you were younger that you thought were right, but then later on you figured out that
Oh, plenty. So many. If not most. If not most of my choices. Right? All of this came back again to the fact that I wasn't very self-aware. Not that I wasn't self-aware. I'm trying to put, because I've always been the sort of person who's just been this. You can talk to absolutely anyone from high school or from whenever. This is who I've always been. I've never been anyone else. Right? It's just, this is who I've always been. So I've always been self-aware, but a lot of my horrible choices came from a place of trying to be someone I was not, trying to be someone else, because the people who I looked up to, the people who influenced my life were, I guess, examples for me, and I thought that that's how you should be, and turns out no, I was the one who was right. The me that I wanted to reject, the me that I didn't want to be, that I didn't think was all that popular, that's the one that was right. And when I leaned into being that person and lost a lot of people along the way, I found myself here, where I am. It's not quite where I should be, it's not quite where I want to be, but it's a long, long way from where I used to be and who I used to be. Right? And some of the choices that I used to make. Is that helpful to you?
it is.
What did you get out of that? What did you guys get out of our conversation that we've had so far?
Be yourself. Try being yourself.
Yeah.
Try being anyone else.
Yeah, man.
You know who you are and what you wanna be. Also, not everyone that is older than us is doing the right thing.
There we go. That's a good one. Even me. Even me. Oh my gosh. Even me. Sometimes I get it wrong. Many times. Very often I get it wrong. Right? So I'm not always doing the right thing. And despite the fact that I think you guys do you guys look up to me?
Yeah, I
Okay. I didn't want to assume and then speak on your behalf like, oh my gosh, you guys look up to me. Despite the fact that you look up to me, right and wrong will always be right and wrong. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but some people think because they are older,
Mm-hmm.
then they are right. But
That's a slightly difficult point for me to make a comment on, but I'm going to. At times, older people they just know what's right in a situation. They just do, right? Even for me right now, at some point, like some of the things that I thought, oh my gosh, they're being so annoying. A lot of the things they were right. They just didn't know how to say it in a way that I would understand in my young teenage I know everything mindset. You get what I mean? Mm. It's not that they're trying to annoy you or they're trying to boss you around or take your decisions away from you. Trust me, you will have plenty of time to make decisions in this life. No rush, my boy. No rush. But they're not trying to boss you or take away your decisions or anything like that. No, that's not what it is. At times, they're just trying to help you and they just don't know how to make it make sense for you. You get it? Many times, if an older person is giving you advice, I'd advise you to sit down and listen to it and then process it. At least listen, right? You don't always have to take the whole thing, or you don't always have to take it at all, but at least listen. At least, right? Because if you listen, then you know whether or not it's good or it's bad. And you won't always know how to determine whether it's good or it's bad. But if you at least listen, most of the times you stand a chance to at least get some sense of what's wrong or right in the situation. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. I'm glad you got made some sense for you there. So, any other things that you guys caught from that before I wrap it up here?
Was listening.
And follow your dreams.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one. But with that also, it's not just about following the dreams. You need to work. You need to work towards it. And with the working towards it also, you need to give up some things. Sometimes it's things that you really love. What do you mean,
It's not easy.
Yeah, it isn't. It really isn't. Sometimes you need to give up Xbox during the week. He knows who he is. He knows exactly who he is. Sometimes during the week you need to give up Xbox and do some math. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because you want to become a millionaire one day.
So do you think school will make you a millionaire?
School is super important. School will never make you anything, right? But it will at least give you the opportunity to decide. You get what I mean? If you're depending on school to make you a millionaire or make you this or make you that, it will not. You have to decide how you're going to use school to help you get to where you want to get. But it will help you think or learn how to think if you use it correctly. It will help you learn how you should think. Did you guys enjoy the conversation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys drew some value from it. And as I close this out, I am also hoping that you drew some value from it as well. Really trying to get these out daily, and whirlwinds just keep popping up every single where and in every single way. I am going to be hopefully having Lebu, a published poet, with us here tomorrow to have a conversation on art and its necessity in society and correcting society and all alike. I hope you will be courteous enough to join us in that one. I truly do always appreciate your company here. With me today, I had Josby and Grace joining me, who had some pretty interesting questions, and like I mentioned to you, some very inquisitive young men. And I hope that spirit of inquisition remains with them and that it leads them exactly where they should be. You guys want to say any farewells or anything like that?
Yeah.
Shout outs. You guys want to shout out anyone?
My mom. Yeah, my mom.
Shout out to Grace's mom. Anyone you want to shout out, Josephine?
Everyone.
Everyone, okay, everyone. You just got your shout out from Josephine right there. You guys have been stellar. I really appreciate you guys joining us. You were amazing here. I'm going to close out here by letting us know that my sister's keeper is still doing their drive, and your sanitary pads, your sanitary products are still highly, highly welcomed, and I will appreciate you reaching out to me on falu@bbear.org to just let me know, hey, look, I want to support in this and that way. If not, reach me on my personal number if you have it. If you don't, just send me an email and I can give you my personal number if you need it. My name is Falu. That has been Just B. That has been Grace. And I do look at technology doing what technology does. I do blow kisses, and I will see you in the next one. Please do stay well.
Bye. Have a good day.
Oh, yeah. You guys want to say bye? Okay, sure. Do that. Thanks, wave.
See you next time.
See you next time. Okay, bye. All right. See you all.